And now you knew him a little bit, right, Don? I mean, you worked with the Phillies. You must have had some conversations with him when they came into Philly, or you went out to L.A., right?
Absolutely. I had a few conversations with him, and the other thing that he used to spend some time he's a big music fan, Jonathan, he did shows with Jonathan Swartz every time he came into New York by telephone, or I don't know that he actually did some in the studio, but he did shows with Jonathan when he came into New York, and he's a very astute music talent as well.
He had a talk show at one time. I remember this as a kid watching it. It was the early 70s. I guess it was a syndicated show, kind of like the Mike Douglas show, where he would interview people, and he's a pretty good singer. I mean, he sang on that show. So he's multiple interests. It's not just a sports announcer. And, of course, he did a game show or two along the way, and did a lot of movie appearances where he'd play an announcer, but he did some of that as well. So a very talented man.
They tried to do some things. I don't want to make a comparison between the talent levels, but as you remember, the more Howard Cosell got involved in the sports picture, they tried to bring him off into the entertainment area, and that really didn't work out. Well, in all honesty, they tried to do the same thing because Vince Scully was so good. They tried, as you said, they tried to put him in other venues. They tried, I think, to make him a game show host for a while. But his strength and bread and butter was always doing baseball, and the other things that he did never really materialized into a big-time profit maker.
My uncle, Tom Dillon, he was a singer, worked in the Milton Berle show, Perry Como, part of that early live television, and he was the shepherd of the Lambs Club down. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's kind of like the Flyers Club in New York, and he and Vince Scully entered the Lambs Club the same year. I think it was 1950-something. I'm not sure when that was, but my uncle and Vin were good friends, and they got inducted into the Lambs Club, a theatrical club. So right. that was kind of Vin enjoyed the show business aspect of it. I think Mel Allen was also a member of the Lambs Club as well. So a lot of those announcers back in those years would join all those kind of organizations too, because it was all show business in a sense.
Exactly right. It was exactly that. It was show business, and they all realized, the different aspects of it, and they'd like to have them to join to be part of the organization, and they got a lot of publicity from that. So you're exactly right. Anybody that could get one of the named people to come in and join the organization, it was that much better because you're inducing a lot of other people just to join.
Kind of like what we belong to down here, Don, the Broadcasters Club. Although not quite as big.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about today that the round table that you and I are
right. That was another group we do, yeah.
Yeah, down there in Sarasota, and it's not just a matter of a sports club. It's really a total environment of entertainment, news, magazines, sports. It's everything, and it's a lot of fun and a lot of great people all involved in it.
Except we don't have roasts like the Flyers. We should have a roast.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, we're happy that Vin's going to be back for at least one more year, and that is great news. But Lou Piniella retiring after 23 years as a manager, 4 with the Cubs. Got up to a good start with the Cubs. I think the first year he was there is when they made it as the division champ, made it into the playoffs, but did not advance. And then after that, it kind of went downhill. A good manager, I think, Don. I'm not sure you'd put him with the all-time greats, maybe that second level. I mean, he's won over, 1,600 games. I think the 14th most wins of any manager, but a good career as a manager. Won 1 World Series with the Reds and did a great job with the Mariners. I think he'd like to forget about his days with the then Devil Rays, though, right?
Well, yeah, the Devil Rays were a disaster, but they were doing a lot yesterday on WGN in Chicago, matching him up. Gene Mauch is the only manager to win the number of games or in the same vicinity of the number of games that Lou Piniella is going to win or has won, and is not in the Hall of Fame. They were talking about, is he automatically going to go in the Hall of Fame? He did take the Cubs to 2 postseason rounds, which was the first time they'd done that. He was manager of the year 3 times. A lot of credentials, a lot of wins. Won 117 or 119 games with the Mariners that 1 year, and took the Cincinnati Reds to a World Championship. So he has a lot of statistics on his side. and they seem to think that he was pretty much right on the borderline of a manager that would, in 5 years from now, be given a lot of consideration to go into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, I would have no trouble with him going in. I'm just not sure he's quite a Hall of Famer for his managerial career. No question, Joe Torre is. You could say, well, he had the advantage being with the Yankees, but I still think Torre's a better manager than Piniella was over the years. But, I mean, if he got in, I would have no trouble with it, but I'm not quite sure he's at the same level.
Well, I think it's going to be touch and go, as they say. The thing about Joe Torre, when you talk about him, he also had a pretty darn good playing career.
Right.
Lou Piniella was he was a solid player, but he certainly wasn't, in the category of Joe Torre when he played for the Cardinals and so forth. So, as I say, and I was never a big Gene Mauch fan, so I would not be a voter for Gene Mauch to go to the Hall of Fame on his credentials. In fact, he doesn't even have a winning percentage. So he won a lot of games and managed a lot of teams. But Lou Piniella has a lot going for him, and they seem to think yesterday the consensus was that, time will tell, but that he will get in. I was surprised that he was quite as emotional as he was. WGN did cover the whole press conference following the ball game, and I was a little surprised that he was quite as emotional at this stage as he was, because he made the announcement, Sunday morning, and then came on the press conference after it, and just surprised me a little bit. I thought, his days of managing, I thought he, more about not putting the uniform on again and that type of thing, I guess, as much as he was very complimentary to the Chicago fans and the support that he got while he was in Chicago.
Yeah, I watched that too, and he's always been an emotional type of guy. We've seen some of the tirades on the field, maybe some for show, but he can get a little hot. But it is a little uncomfortable when you see quite that much emotion. But I mean, it was honest, I think, and.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not so sure he may not give it one more try. I know his mother is not doing well, and maybe when that situation is better, he might come back for one more run. He's 66, I believe, or 67, so he might have one more stint in him. But at least yesterday he feels that was it.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not, you're right, there has been some speculation as to whether he would not, sit out a couple of years like Trader Jack did, and then maybe the right situation come up for a year or something, and tap Lou on the shoulder and say, would you take over a team, and would he do it? But he seemed pretty adamant and pretty honest yesterday that this was it. But after you've been away from it for a couple of years, that itch never leaves.
Well, I even saw a quote from Skelly, getting back to that, when they had the strike a few years ago. He was walking around, he said, I was so bored I was walking around hardware stores counting, looking for tools and things. So, he even missed it then. So you just miss it. I mean, it's a great life, baseball. I mean, it's not bad. You don't want to walk away from it.
Yeah, and it consumes you, because it's not like some other sports where, it's really 24/7, almost 12 months a year now, between the training programs and all the other things that go with it. Why you find yourself so accustomed to going to work every single day and going to spring training. It's not like it's just a 162-game schedule. It's a year-round job, and so once you walk away from it, it's very, very tough to not miss it a little bit.